To start, I want to read you guys something in this book, The Chamber of Secrets. It says, well, if you must know, Ginny walked in on me the other day when I was, well, never mind. The point is she spotted me doing something and I asked her not to mention it to anybody. I must say, I did think she'd keep her word. It's nothing, really. I just rather... What was Percy doing?
Absolutely no comment. Plead the fifth on this one.
Oh, I gotta find where this is. This was
Goodness, you're just
so
stirring
funny.
the pot, aren't you?
What notes did you take on that, Dan?
I don't remember, but I'm sure we all know what he was doing.
Also, I want to note this too. When we are recording this podcast, we have not read the final penultimate chapter of the Chamber of Secrets. This is what we're doing. We are going to talk over the next 3 chapters, 16, 17, and 18. And then we are going to all together read the book, the last chapter.
16 and 17. And then we're going to...
15, 16, 17. Sorry, yeah, sorry. 15, 16, and 17. We're going to read the last chapter, which is 18, together. And then we're going to record that, like our live reactions to that immediately. So that's what we're doing. We don't know the end yet. But what was Percy doing?
No.
He was practicing spells.
Forbidden spells.
Poor Ginny. She needs that memory. Like,
Poor sister. Ugh.
Well, welcome to our podcast. I'm John.
Jenn.
Danny.
And Kristen.
And this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Okay, I could use your guys' help. Whoever is listening to this podcast, we were looking to start a website that's kind of like a forum where we can discuss some of this stuff. But I think the easiest thing to do right now is create a subreddit. So I just created a subreddit called r/First Time Readers, and I could use your help with a lot of stuff. Just community. I want to talk to you guys, figure out what questions I should ask Jen, Danny, and Kristen. And then also, I have some questions for you guys about... Okay, so side note, we are about 2 weeks ahead of the release date of this podcast. So we just recorded an episode on chapters 6 to 10 of The Prisoner of Azkaban, and it was about 3.5 hours. So I want to know if you would listen to a 3.5 hour podcast, or if I should break that up into 2 different podcasts. That would really help me a lot. I have a few more questions about the kind of like podcast format that we should do. And I just want input on how you guys like this podcast so far. I want to talk about different questions that I should ask our first time readers, and how you guys are just generally enjoying this podcast. It's not going to be a big community, I'm guessing, but I would really, really like to know what everyone thinks. And I have a ton of questions that I want to ask you guys about how we can make this podcast better. Again, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate your support. Also, give us a rating and review because it helps the podcast out a ton. And then go check out our subreddit. That would be incredible.
I like squawked over your name.
No, I
that's
like it.
great.
It's good.
That stuff makes it so good, guys. Come on.
I'm having the
man.
worst visuals
I
right now.
know. Let's move on. But
We're moving on from that very quickly. We don't want to talk about that anymore.
Actually, I didn't even think he was doing anything dirty.
oh, you're innocent.
I wrote, could he be someone else and using Polyjuice Potion? It was so suspicious, I thought he was not Percy.
Whoa.
If Hermione can do Polyjuice, anyone can.
What?
An experienced wizard who has graduated. Any professor, you know, like 6th years, blah, blah, blah. If a 2nd year Hermione, I have to imagine she's the equivalent of an average 5th year, right? So the point is, I feel like there would be a lot of people at Hogwarts who could do a Polyjuice Potion.
She had to get the recipe from that
And did they have to steal
secret
something?
I was going to say they stole from Snape.
library.
But
is
we
not like an
gotta
easily
imagine
accessible
some other
thing.
students have done some funny business.
Yeah.
You know, Dumbledore has ways of being invisible. Sure, he's very advanced. But that means there are just some very creative spells that could make it happen.
Like, no doubt Fred and George could be able to brew this potion.
Yep.
And they're
They had
acting
to
like
go
Percy,
to
just
the
making
forbidden
it.
area of the library to get the spells. Remember? She got a note from Lockhart.
Well,
You don't
yeah, but
think Fred and
Lockhart
George
gave
could?
that so easy, and I bet maybe even prefects would have that automatically. Maybe that's why someone needs to be Percy, so they could get into some area or into Gryffindor Tower or whatever.
And
but
maybe
anyways,
Lockhart's gay, and he was really influenced by Fred and George Weasley actually there.
Ooh, yep.
We're going to end that right there.
Can we redo the whole intro? And only have Danny talk.
Redo. Yes.
Oh,
my goodness. Well, getting into it. Chapter 15 is a chapter called
Yes.
Aragog.
Oh, the spiders.
No, that's the best description that we have. That's how we're going to describe this chapter. Ugh, spiders.
The worst.
This chapter opens up, obviously, with Dumbledore being sent off to Azkaban, and McGonagall takes his place as temporary headmistress.
Wait, but Dumbledore wasn't actually going to Azkaban, right?
No,
But Hagrid was, and
yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't being sent to Azkaban. Hagrid was being sent to Azkaban. He was just sacked.
right.
But who do you think would be the best person to replace Dumbledore as headmaster or headmistress? Was it McGonagall? Do you think someone else? Lockhart?
No.
No, definitely not.
No, I think it was good.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like
it kinda
McGonagall
makes
would
sense.
keep everything in line.
Stern.
Yeah.
Strict.
Yeah. She'd hold everything together well.
And Dumbledore trusts her, so I'm like, she's gonna do what Dumbledore would want her to do.
Like Dumbledore's right-hand woman over there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
not exactly maybe as skilled as Dumbledore, but very like stern. I thought you were like closing your eyes like, yes, she is. She's a woman. She can do anything she wants. Jenn is the token feminist.
No, I just pro women.
But yeah, she's definitely like the stern person who would definitely keep everything in line. Do you think that it's irresponsible for Harry to leave the cloak at Hagrid's because he doesn't think he'll need it in the forest?
Yep. I wrote that down and circled it and got mad.
Yeah.
Carry that thing with you. What are you doing? Why would you not want that?
I
Is it
know.
heavy?
It can't be that heavy.
No, probably not.
And even if it is, it's worth carrying it around. That is like
Yeah.
your get out of jail free card.
But with animals, as we do see, insects, wouldn't they like smell you out anyway if you're invisible?
Honestly, yeah, a lot of animals maybe could, but it's not a bad idea to have it around.
Yeah,
it
it
just felt
doesn't
silly
hurt.
that he was like, "Oh, I won't need this."
He's a
might.
kid. He's not
Yeah.
fully thinking it through.
Yeah,
Gotta
but
give
he
him some
has been
slack.
like too casual with this thing. He's leaving it all over the place. In book 1, he leaves it at the top of the tower after they carried the dragon up. He drops it somewhere else. It keeps getting returned. He's leaving it at Hagrid's. I'm also just thinking someone else could take this thing. This is valuable. This is powerful. He should be treating it with more respect. But he's a 12-year-old with a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
That he puts on himself, though.
I feel like he chooses what he wants to put on himself, though. Because,
Like
does he
what?
understand the weight of leaving the cloak around?
Well, yeah, you're right. Maybe he doesn't. Ron was impressed and was like, "Oh my goodness, what is that? That's
Yeah.
so cool."
Maybe
But he's kind of like, "Oh, okay."
There's another section in these chapters that I was confused about that I had to reread this a few times. When whoever comes in to raid the room and they retake the diary, it says the cloak was on the ground and the cloak had a tear in it. Is it talking about his actual invisibility cloak? Because that's like not maybe not irresponsible because someone actually came into the room and ripped it, but I thought that was the invisibility cloak.
Oh, I thought it was just like his robes, but
Maybe,
I
yeah.
couldn't tell if that's what they called the robes casually, like a cloak. Why wouldn't they steal the invisibility cloak? Because that seems like the best thing
Yeah,
there.
right. I think he's way too careless with the invisibility cloak. He's gotta keep that thing on him at all times. Like, don't be a hoarder, but like carry it into the forbidden forest with you, so that if like there's any creatures, you can maybe slightly avoid them. Like, think a little bit, Harry. Come on. And then they follow spiders. What animal do you hate, or that creeps you out more than any other animals?
Spiders.
It's like you would be tapped out here.
Hate them. I hated reading that chapter. They're little demons.
I have to say, there's a I'm gonna spoil one line from the movies for you guys, but there's a great line in the movie where I texted this to you because I didn't know if it said this in the books, but in the book it says Ron just goes follow the spiders, like ridiculous. We have to follow the spiders. In the movie, Ron storms out of the forest and goes follow the spiders. Follow the spiders. Why couldn't it be follow the butterflies? I love that line.
Oh goodness, that's awesome.
I think it's such a good one.
Yeah, that would be nice.
What other
Sounds like
animal
that would be
creeps you guys out that you would want to like come in contact with?
Snakes, spiders.
Everything in this book right now.
Classic.
Bugbears.
Bear, yep.
Cave
Bears.
crickets. You guys ever encounter
yeah.
those nasty
what?
alien-looking things? We called them bouncers.
What did you call
The
it?
ones that are like in
Cave
basements.
crickets.
They look like grasshoppers.
They have, like,
but they're
those
really
tall
ugly.
legs.
They have big horns on their butt.
Do
We
they?
call them rickets. We have wood crickets.
Does it have a nice
Not
butt?
cave crickets. They have a nice butt. They got a big horn on their butt.
A
I think
reverse
that's different.
unicorn.
These guys literally look like little aliens.
This is my my Batman experience. I am Batman, but with crickets.
Whoa.
I was at my house. Oh, those things, yeah, they're there.
Oh, let me see.
Are those cave crickets or wood crickets?
That's cave crickets.
That's what I'm talking about too. Those are, we call them wood crickets,
Oh, okay.
and they're awful. They're disgusting. But I was cleaning a well at my parents' house. They have like a little well on the property, and I was down in there with a ladder because I had to get like a dead squirrel out of there, and I was trying to get this thing out, and it took me like 10 minutes to like be able to scoop this thing up with a rake, and then all of a sudden I put my hand under this rock and I look under the rock, and there's like 10 of them upside down, hanging upside down.
Oh.
All just chilling there under this rock, and I look under every rock, and there's like, I'm surrounded by them, and I freaked out, and all of a sudden some of them started jumping on me, and I was
they
in
set
this
each other
well.
off, so they all started
yeah.
jumping.
It was like
Oh.
mousetraps setting each other off. So I was in this well, freaking out, got out, and then I became Ricket Man by night. So I defeat criminals with the powers of crickets, just like Batman was in a cave.
Sounds
Overcame
terrifying.
bats. It was awful. Oh, it was the worst ever. Oh, those creep me out more than anything else. I hate those things so much. But Harry asks a few important questions here. He goes, "And you didn't come from the Chamber of Secrets?" said Harry, who could feel a cold sweat on his forehead. And then Harry asks him what the creature is. And Aragog goes, "That thing, the thing that lives in the castle is an ancient creature we spiders fear above all others. Well do I remember how I pleaded with Hagrid to let me go when I sensed the beast moving about in the school." What do you think of Aragog, and do you like what do you think of this whole like just chapter in general with the spiders, with Aragog's stories? How is it all piecing the story together for you guys?
I wasn't super psyched on it. Something just felt weird about it. I love Aragog, that like character, and the spider stuff, but the car being like alive now felt a little weird. I was like, wait, it's like a dog? Like, what kind of thing did Mr. Weasley like put on this? So that felt a little weird, and then the spiders like speaking English. Something about it just felt out of control, and that Hagrid would even send them there. I'm like, again, irresponsible by Hagrid to send these kids to find these spiders, like with purpose sent them there. But if it wasn't for kind of just getting lucky, they would have been eaten by spiders.
Yeah, they didn't even tell him anything.
Yeah, like
I got really frustrated with that.
Did they actually learn anything?
Yeah.
Well, they learned that they learned that
did.
Hagrid did not
Yeah.
open the
Oh,
chamber,
yeah,
and that is
Yeah.
important. But
Yeah.
that was kind of it. And they learned that this is an actual like beast in the Chamber of Secrets, something spiders are scared of. So the more intimidation, and Hagrid is innocent. That's good, I guess. But at what cost did Hagrid send them there?
Right.
I didn't think that was worth it. It's not like,
Sent them there?
yeah, because he said follow
Remember-
the spiders
yeah,
when
he
he was
said that.
leaving to go to, they were throwing him in Azkaban. So he directly told them go into like this super dangerous thing. I'm like, these spiders are more dangerous than whatever's in the chamber at this point.
But maybe he
So it
thought
felt
that it was
foolish.
his friend, right, Aragog?
He did,
And it was
but-
like, oh, he won't harm any of my friends.
Yeah, maybe that's that classic Hagrid again, giving
Yeah.
the benefit of
Yeah.
the doubt.
To
Like,
an animal, yeah.
so I wasn't like mad at Hagrid too much. Well, I did write in all capital letters, irresponsible exclamation point.
He is clearly irresponsible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
was
just had mixed feelings about
I was
that.
more annoyed at the spider because I'm like, just say what was in it. What like
Oh yeah.
that's what I got annoyed with because I'm like, they could have found that out at the expense of them possibly dying.
And this was the difference between Hagrid's advice and Dumbledore's advice. Dumbledore's advice, they had to figure out. It would take them time, and they'd find out what he was talking about at the proper time. It wasn't something that just came to them immediately. With Hagrid going, whoever wants to find something, just follow the spiders. You're like, okay, there's no subtlety behind that. But I think Hagrid just wants to do it almost to clear his own name, which seems selfish.
That's
Like
what I was
the spiders won't really tell him anything. If Hagrid's actually tried to get information out of the spiders do not tell him about what the beast is, And why would Hagrid think that they would tell Harry then? Someone who the spiders don't know at all. So it seems so irresponsible, but it seems like Hagrid is there just trying to clear his name because he's about to go to Azkaban. And he's like, I want my favorite students to know that I'm not guilty, which is just, I mean, it's cute, but it's irresponsible.
Yeah. It's almost like an
Highly
irresponsible
irresponsible.
panic response.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right? Yeah, maybe it is just out of panic. He's about to go to Azkaban and he's terrified. So he's like,
He's like, this is my only chance. Maybe if they find out, they can clear my name.
Dumbledore said something wise. Go follow the spiders.
Gotta chime in.
Yeah. And he's in Azkaban. He's like, Harry's going to die.
Yeah, that was silly. But also maybe he assumed that Harry was more responsible. Like he wouldn't just go wandering in the middle of the night. He'd go during the day and with some backup. And
But then he doesn't know
like,
Harry at all.
But yeah, exactly.
I was going to say that's
so it just
totally
felt,
out of character.
It just felt weird, the whole thing.
Did you guys have any other theories on who opened the chamber at this point? Like when you found out Hagrid didn't open the chamber, were you like, I think it's Lucius Malfoy?
I really didn't.
Really?
No. I mean, not that I really did a deep dive.
Yeah.
Because I just keep reading. But
I was thinking it was Snape. I thought Riddle might be Snape. I didn't know how a name change would have happened, but they just said he had black hair. So that was on my mind. Like, Snape is the only, well, maybe not the only, but he's the first character I thought of who has black hair. I find that J.K. Rowling always talks about the hair. She always describes people in like 5 words, and hair is like a few of those words.
Yeah,
so I said, all right, black hair. Cool. Maybe it's him. But it just felt too weird, so I wasn't that confident in any of it.
Yeah.
No real theories.
I'll say too, I think this book, and I've told you guys this before off podcast, but I think this book is my least favorite. When you read the first one, you're given clues. Like if you read it again, you will be able to see what is happening. And you're like, oh, I could see how it's Quirrell. We all know the end. Anybody who's listening to this podcast knows the end of this book already because we're on the end podcast of Chamber of Secrets. But when you read the Chamber of Secrets, you would read it and you're like, there's no clear indicators that it would be Tom Riddle. Like it doesn't feel like a mystery that much. It's just like you don't know who opened the Chamber of Secrets and you're just trying to find out rather than like piecing things together. So I don't, both of these books are my 2 least favorite, although I love them with everything in me. But this Philosopher's Stone or the Sorcerer's Stone ranks slightly above Chamber of Secrets for that reason. It feels like a better written mystery novel.
Right.
Rather than this one where you just don't know, and you find out a lot at the end, but you just don't know.
yeah.
But we'll get there.
Like, because I think some of the best mysteries, it's when you feel so close to getting it and you actually could have gotten it if you took a little more time, and you feel silly when you see the answer. But for this, I was like, oh, well, yeah, I never would have gotten that.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like the pieces were not there. I wasn't being taunted in the same way that some of the other books, the first book and other mysteries have taunted me in the past.
All right, we're on to the next chapter, which is the Chamber of Secrets. What happened?
What happened to the car? Is this car just off in the woods now?
It's a wild
It came
car.
wild though. So what does that even mean?
He's just driving around, and it doesn't fly anymore because when it left the woods, it was
maybe got
driving.
beat up
Yeah.
too much
I was
by
like,
the tree. Got shaken up.
Yeah, it's just funny.
How does it have enough fuel to go? I guess it's magic, obviously, but
Yeah, it doesn't need fuel anymore.
yeah.
Just off being.
Fuels itself from the forest.
It's an introvert.
I
A
thought it
tree
went back
fuels itself
home.
by being alone in the woods, and then it comes out.
Like Tarzan.
What'd you say, Jen?
No, I
Tarzan.
was like, I thought it went back to the Weasley's house. What's that?
You like that one?
Did you hear what he said?
No.
He
I
it's
said
like-
it's wandering in the woods like Tarzan. It's Carzan.
Oh,
I don't know why I
that's a
went
good
that
one. Hey.
Oh, I didn't write a summary of this chapter. You're up, Jen.
The Chamber of Secrets.
Oh, I wrote.
does it.
They find the Chamber of Secrets. ... And that Lockhart is a fraud.
Let's talk
Nice.
about that real quick. Why? And this is one of my last questions for the chapter, but I want to talk about it now because this is so important. Did you know Lockhart was a fraud from the beginning of this book?
I felt like he was. Yes.
Okay. Jen, would you say so too?
Yeah. I think I thought maybe he was just hiding something at first. Maybe not necessarily a fraud, but like he was covering by being terrible at spells and everything. That he was covering up being evil, maybe, or something. That's what I was thinking, possibly. But as we got, this chapter, yeah. He's a pain. I can't stand. It's so annoying.
Why would Dumbledore hire this man?
Yeah, I haven't figured that out.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yet. I don't get it.
No one else wanted it
I guess, yeah.
because everyone becomes something happens to them. I forget where that is, but it's somewhere in a book or the movie.
Yeah, that is like no one wants this position. At the same point, even though no one wants it, do you think Dumbledore knows that this guy is a fraud? All the teachers know he's a fraud. Do you think they know the extent of how much he's a fraud? Do you think Dumbledore specifically knows?
Oh yeah.
I kind of think so.
has to.
Yeah.
Like, you think he would know that this guy is going around obliviating people, like doing memory charms on people, erasing their memories and stealing them? And do you think he knows to that extent?
He knows so
Interesting.
much.
Yeah, he
though.
does
I
know so
know.
much. I feel like I didn't think of him as knowing all of the extent, but maybe he did. Maybe he wanted to keep him right under his nose. Maybe even catch him in the act so he could get him put away somewhere.
So
keep
do
him
you think
close.
like him hiring would be this whole long process of like Dumbledore knows, so this is the way that he can bring justice about to all these other wizards?
I like to believe that now.
At the jeopardy of the
said that.
students?
But
though?
then do you also feel like that's highly
At the
irresponsible
jeopardy
that
of the
he's their teacher
students,
for a full
yeah.
year and he's just hatching this plot? He's like throw a year of your education out of the window.
Right. They're not learning about defense against the dark arts right now because he's just setting pixies loose in the classroom and messing everything up.
Seriously.
It's dangerous for the kids,
Yeah.
too. I mean, we've
just
already
can't
established
believe
magic
that
can heal
he
them.
would
But
go that far, Lockhart. That he was like, okay, I'm gonna try to do these spells. Like, why would he put the students in danger when he knows he's a fraud?
he didn't
Like
care.
he keeps doing. Yeah, I know. That's why I hate him.
I know.
It's his pride. So we also find out, so this is my theory I've been waiting to tell you guys because I looked this up online and I couldn't find anything really online about it. So he goes around and he does memory charms on people, and he erases their memory, and then he will take their story and then write it about himself. One of his books is called Travels with Trolls. Do you know who else had a good affinity with trolls?
Quirrell.
Do you guys think that there's a possibility that Lockhart could have performed some kind of memory charm on Quirrell? And so here's my basis for this. I had a Greek teacher in grad school who lost his memory. He was the best Greek up and coming mind in the world, they said. He wrote this Greek grammar that was revolutionary for the system. Everyone uses it to this day. He lost his memory. He had a disease that he lost his memory, and he didn't remember his wife's name. Couldn't even remember his wife's name. He had to relearn from his own book. Like, do you think that it's like the same idea? Like, this memory charm had, like, the synapses in his brain were, like, washed over, but they weren't erased. So when he was, like, maybe Quirrell had his whole memory erased, he didn't know working with trolls anymore, then maybe he, like, took on a fully grown mountain troll, which is worth only 5 points. He took one on, and then the synapses in his head fired, and he became good with trolls again. Do you think that Travels with Trolls could possibly be about Quirrell?
Oh my gosh, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I mean, it definitely could be.
And then that's how Voldemort took on his body.
Maybe. I don't know. I just nerded out about that. I found that the other day, and I was like, Quirrell's good with trolls. He has a book called Travels with Trolls. What the heck? So that's my theory for that. But I still just don't know why Dumbledore would hire him in the first place. That just seems weird to me. I just don't understand that, and I haven't been able to understand that.
Yeah, there's too many risks. I don't like it.
I like that you piece that together, though. That's really interesting.
What if Dumbledore just didn't know? It feels weird. Like, if he knew, why would he hire him?
But he knows
Yeah.
so much. I just
know,
like
I can't
don't believe
imagine
that he
him not
didn't
knowing.
know. Right.
And
He even knew that Hagrid wasn't the person that, like, I mean, not that that's a tall tale, whatever, of knowing the future, but like he was the one that like believed Hagrid that didn't open the chamber or whatever.
I feel like, in my understanding, I feel like Dumbledore's knowledge is slightly better than most of the other teachers' knowledge. Like, the teachers all know Lockhart's a fraud, but they don't know the extent of how he's a fraud. I feel like Dumbledore knew there was something shadier going on with this. And so maybe he wanted to take or Lockhart under his wing just to figure out what that was. And then when he figured it out, obviously this guy shouldn't be teaching anymore, but maybe it wasn't crazy irresponsible, but I feel like Dumbledore's playing games of chess over here. Which is just weird to do as a teacher. And then there's another point in this book too where let me read this line to you because this is like the very important line for this whole chapter. The heir of Slytherin, said Professor McGonagall, who was very white, left another message right underneath the first one. Her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever. Professor Flitwick burst into tears. Who is it? Said Madam Hooch, who had sunk weak-kneed into a chair. Madam Hooch finally doing something good. Which student? She asks. Ginny Weasley, said Professor McGonagall. Harry felt Ron slide silently down onto the wardrobe floor beside him.
I hated that part.
Ugh.
Thinking about my siblings, like if I were in Ron's place, I probably would have passed out. Ugh.
And that whole day they go back to the common room and it's like the worst day imaginable because Hogwarts is about to close and all the Weasleys are just chilling there together.
I have a question that I don't know if I skimmed over in the book, but remember when Ginny was saying I left my diary? Is this the diary that she left?
Yep.
So where did she find it?
An interesting question. We'll find out. We don't know the end yet.
Oh, why
because
didn't
we haven't read the last chapter.
Wait, why did I not put that together? I thought she like found it. Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
That is why
she freaked out
Yeah.
and they had to go back.
I mean, I
Okay.
do love Rowling's writing because you're like, she throws one sentence lines in there where you're like, you read again and you're like, she went back for the diary. What the heck? Where'd
But
she
then
get this?
it's such a
And we'll find
long
out.
relationship.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a quick thing.
Right.
No.
So no what? Ugh. And
It was
I
like
was
a 9-month
shocked.
relationship. From the term opening to the term closing.
Oh, I didn't even calculate that out.
Yeah.
So I was shocked with learning all that about Ginny.
Oh.
That's this chapter,
It's
right?
giving me weird feelings. Because I never put it together about the diary that far back
Oh,
Right,
no?
me too.
before school.
Like, I mean, it makes a lot
so
more
that
sense.
was like after they went to Diagon Alley.
So who do you think gave it to them?
Well, now
How do
I
you think
can't-
she got it?
I'm like, well, they interacted with a lot of people in Diagon Alley.
Oh, that's true. And it could have been that same hooded person that gave Hagrid the dragon.
I need to read the beginning.
No, but then he would
that
have
was-
been
that
dead
was-
already.
Yeah,
It was Quirrell.
that was Quirrell.
So never
He
mind.
gone.
Could he have given it to before?
Maybe. There's
Well,
a
it could have
possibility.
been Lockhart at the bookstore. It could have been Lucius Malfoy. It could have been quite a few people. Anyone, really. I mean, once you're in Diagon Alley, all the wizards are there. So it could be something we
But
haven't
they had to have
seen.
known that Ginny had something with Harry. Or no, that was... What did he say in the journal? He said, once I found out about her obsession with Harry, or he already knew that she liked Harry. That's what I forget. Ginny.
Well, he found out
Don't
through
do
the
that.
journal. Because
She's gone. She has left the room.
Boy, just it's so exciting to me.
Oh. Wait, am I getting ahead of the chapter?
no,
I mean,
you're
that
right
is
on
the Heir of
point.
Slytherin chapter, so that is the next one. But let's combine them all.
Oh,
let's,
sorry.
let's combine
Okay.
this because both of these are pretty much one unit.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
hard to separate these chapters. We keep going.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, I got distracted by your eyebrows.
Oh gosh.
Weird. Now I'm trying to go right into 17 and read more. I'm like, wait, what happened?
Wait, I know. I need to see like how it's.
Well, I'm like
worded.
trying to replay it in my mind of like, she gets the diary. We don't know where she gets it yet, but at some point during the summer or before, she could have had this thing for years for all we know. But at some point she gets a crush on Harry and she's writing about it in the diary. And we've all picked up on it. Other students have picked up on it. Kids are singing her little Valentine thing in the hallway. So everyone kind of knows that. Even Harry does. I still can't figure out what about that is giving power to the memory. That dynamic feels a little weird. But we're kind of getting to the next chapter. Where did you get the diary?
I know.
I cannot wait to listen to this with you guys. I'm so excited. Okay,
It was
there's a few other
planted.
random questions. We'll get back to some of these in a second, but there's another one that I want to talk about. They say they're gonna send the students home the next day, the next morning. Shouldn't they send the students home immediately? Like, there is a message on the wall that says Ginny Weasley's skeleton will lie in the chamber forever. A student is going to die. Why would they wait till the morning to send the students home?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
The
Like, if something
train
like that happens
doesn't
in a
run
school-
at
Well, the
night.
train does
Is
take
it
9
like-
hours to get there. Maybe it was in London.
It
They're
takes
like,
9
call the
hours?
steam line up here, get that thing
Magic.
going.
I know.
And that would make sense. Then overnight, it'll be there by the morning. Maybe that was just the fastest it could be done. And an owl has to fly to London, too, to tell them to send the steam engine up.
That's true. We're adding hours on as we speak.
Were the kids
Wow.
pretty much safe in their dorms though?
They keep that mentality going.
Kind
Like,
of.
the dorms almost
Yeah.
feel kind of sacred. Like, you're safe there. Everyone being together.
Because
is-
nobody was petrified from their room, right?
And just remember, there is no safer place than Hogwarts.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my
Found
gosh.
a meme and
Absolutely
it was like
absurd.
Hogwarts security, and it's like a deadbolt with a Cheeto. That's
So
the
accurate.
security.
Yeah.
Well, if you
place
don't
has
know the
zero
password,
security.
then you're good. You're safe.
Yeah,
Oh,
Right?
right.
maybe. It's just a painting. So, like, if you have like a little knife,
What happens if you cut into it?
Yeah,
Does it kill the?
Does it kill the painting?
maybe.
Oh.
Maybe. Anyway,
All
the
these
next
things.
chapter bleeds into this one. I won't make you guys do a summary, but it's like this is how we meet the heir of Slytherin. We find out who Tom Riddle is, all that kind of stuff.
Well, they found out about Hermione holding the
Yeah,
paper with the
Yep.
description of the beast.
yeah.
And what not to do to
So
get
Hermione
killed.
figured this out months ago, but she
Yeah.
got petrified, which is just devastating because she could have. None of this stuff could have happened.
Ripping a
And-
page out of the book seems like a bit much. Would she do that? Maybe. It's a desperate time,
It was
maybe.
worth
but
it.
I actually like that. I actually like this description because she reveres books so much, but this is such a dire position that she would rip a page out of the book
And she
for it.
wrote on it too.
And she
Yeah.
wrote pipes on it. Hermione.
She's so smart.
Marginalia.
What
And
did
it's from
you
an
say?
old library book too. Ugh.
From an old library book.
Oh, this is where the ghost thing came up. That you'd have to be like determined to be a ghost. Because when Myrtle is telling her story and being all like flattered about her death, she says she was determined to haunt Olive Hornby. And then she kind of jokes or says that she was sorry she'd ever laughed at my glasses. So I think it's that determination that fueled her ghostness.
Yeah.
So I still can't figure out if only wizards can become ghosts or if anyone can, but you kind of have to want it. Like, don't go to the light. Maybe there's some other place you can go to become a ghost.
It's like a moral lesson of what bitterness will get you in life. It'll make you become a miserable ghost for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some interesting questions about ghosts here. Can they actually die? Who becomes a ghost? I think she is so obsessed with haunting this woman or the student who made fun of her that she will easily pass into a ghost life because she wants to haunt Olive Hornby. Poor Olive Hornby. Oh
I
my
thought it
God.
was also weird earlier that nearly headless Nick could even be petrified, first of all, because he can be affected. And then the fact that he could be blown around by wind.
I was gonna say we laughed at that
Oh,
part.
yeah.
I was
They,
like,
blew them.
Yeah.
and it was funny, but also I was like, okay, they're like, he's not a poltergeist, but there are things in the physical world that can impact him still.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah,
if you have to
it
get
is
in a
pretty
ghost fight, you can do some tornado spell or something. Keep him
Yeah,
away.
for real.
Swirl them up a bit.
Yeah, because we talked about this before. Myrtle can manipulate water, so like ghosts can
Oh, yeah.
manipulate
Oh,
fire,
right.
air, and water a little bit.
Oh yeah, we probably already did talk about
Just
it, but I'm
very
just like,
minimally.
the whole ghost thing is weird to me.
Yeah.
I like it. It's exciting.
It's like you're just a ghost floating around, and all of a sudden you hit a drafty corridor, and you can't get up the corridor. You just go through a wall and go through the next one. This is one of the opening parts of this chapter. A tall black-haired boy was leaning against the nearest pillar watching. He was strangely blurred around the edges, as though Harry was looking at him through a misted window. But there was no mistaking him. Tom? Tom Riddle? Did you suspect Tom Riddle?
I don't think so. But then I'm getting mixed because I watched the movie. So.
I mean, I didn't trust him, but I didn't really suspect him. I was overlooking the power of manipulation.
Yeah, I can't give an honest answer because I already knew.
Oh yeah, true, right. Keep forgetting. Oh, also, I don't know, I think you're reading the same book as me. The little beginning of the chapter drawing, unacceptable spoilers. I will not be looking at that little picture at the top of the chapter anymore.
What is the drawing?
Most of the time it's been pretty chill, just something vague or like funny. But in this chapter, it is literally a tooth looking thing stabbing the diary.
Wow.
And
I didn't even catch that.
Wow.
I literally, before I even started reading, I was like, spoiler, like pointing to it because it definitely means something. I'm like, we know about the diary already, so I was kind of like, oh no, this thing's gonna get stabbed. Too much. So from now on, I'll be ignoring the picture at the beginning of each
That's
chapter.
insane. That's way too much. We're gonna talk about the diary in a second. What is your guys' impression of Tom Riddle? First impressions of this person.
I think at first I like wanted him to be like a friendly guy that was just like, let me fill you in on the history of what went on 50 years ago. But then as you're reading, you're like, okay.
Yeah, that was kind of like how Harry took him too. Because he was like, oh, a friendly face, you can help me out. But that didn't last long.
Clearly.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really trust him. It's just odd, the discussion. Like, Harry seems to trust him too quickly. And then even Dumbledore, he wasn't like telling Dumbledore what was going on. But now with Tom, he's just like assuming he's there to help. I was like, you're in the Chamber of Secrets right now. You don't have friends here. There is literally a body limp on the floor over there. And Harry's like just hanging out as if they're buddies.
Yeah.
That's true. But then it makes sense as to why Ginny believed him so and followed.
Yeah.
Like if Harry Potter was like kind of fooled. I feel like
I wonder if
little...
his circumstances, though, again, with the panic thing, like I wonder with Ginny on the floor, like was he not thinking clearly? Because he was like, what do I do?
Yeah, for sure. There's also just interesting character descriptions with Tom Riddle too, of how bored he was with Ginny and how constantly he says, I was just so bored listening to her. But then he talks about, but I know how to like manipulate people and I know how to charm them and like get them on my side. So he's very manipulative, which is interesting because then he draws a direct comparison with Harry. He's like, look at how similar we are, even in how we look. Like we look very similar.
Yep.
So there's weird comparisons between how similar they are to each other, Harry and Tom Riddle. They're both orphans. Hogwarts is really their home.
But one chose good and the other chose evil.
I was going to say, it's like what you choose. That's so interesting.
Why did Harry fling his wand to the side? This kid, he's throwing invisibility cloaks wherever he wants. He's like, oh, I'm at a spot. Wand, be gone, and just tosses it. I'm like, it literally says flung his wand. Don't you have a pocket for this wand or something?
Right.
As soon
Like
as
a holster for your wand.
Right?
That's
Like-
what you need to make.
I'll be the shop right next to Ollivander.
Yeah.
Ollivander's holsters.
I also didn't think memories could pick up wands. That feels weird. Maybe he's gotten enough power that he can interact with the physical world. But when it said he was twirling Harry's wand, it's like, oh, ooh.
Well, he was
this
gaining
feels
power.
weird. Yeah.
Because Ginny was dying.
Yeah.
So he's sucking the life from her, right? That's what
I think so.
I gathered from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the unicorn.
That's why he's like
No,
blurred
it's
at the
true.
edges, so he's not like perfectly a person. You know? So he's like getting more weighty and getting more physical, but he's getting more like real, but he's not quite real yet. He's still blurred at the edges.
I also thought it was interesting, going back a little bit, that Harry Potter wrote his full name in the journal. Like, this is Harry Potter. I don't think I would have done that. Because I feel like his name is so well known. Like, why would you give that away when you don't even know what this journal is?
Harry has weirdness about him where he trusts certain things, but he doesn't trust obvious sources that he maybe should trust. Like, why doesn't he trust Dumbledore to tell Dumbledore all this stuff? But he sees a diary and he's like, my name's Harry Potter. Here's my life story.
I feel like it's that thing though, where it's easier to like spill your life secrets to a stranger.
So true.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and it's those people that are closest to you because they know you so well. Yeah. You're looking at me. No.
Oh, I know. I made a face.
I was like, do you not agree?
It wasn't. I was just thinking.
No. There's a few other lines in this too that I think are really important. And there's one that I love. It goes, "No one knows why you lost your powers when you attacked me," said Harry abruptly. "I don't know myself, but I know why you couldn't kill me. Because my mother died to save me. My common, muggle-born mother." Love that. But he answers, or he brings up another interesting point. How do you think Voldemort lost his powers? So he wasn't able to kill Harry because of love. Why do you think Voldemort lost his powers? Is it the same idea?
Because he was muggle-born, is what you're asking?
No.
No. Oh.
Just how he lost his powers, yeah.
Okay, sorry. I was thinking too much. Could it trade off a muggle-born evil for a muggle-born good? I don't know. I think
There's like a little exchange that happened there. Maybe, actually. Like, that's actually a fascinating point. What if like Harry really showed no signs of magic up until that point? Maybe he was a squib. And it was like this exchange that happened where all of Voldemort's powers went into Harry. And so that's why maybe something weird like that happened.
Yeah. I also don't know why he was explaining all this. It felt like a little weird. Like he's monologuing. Just like, stop. Like you're giving away information.
Yeah.
It actually felt like Voldemort didn't understand this until this moment. And I don't know if memories are the same. Like then does real Voldemort know? Or is the memory a separate entity? I don't know. But it did feel weird that he was giving that information out.
I thought so too. Why would you say that?
And then here's the last question I want to ask for this chapter before we stop and listen to the last chapter. How do you think Tom actually concealed himself in the diary? Like how does that magic work?
Can you elaborate a little bit on that question?
So, like, Tom Riddle writes this diary, and Ginny pours all of her thoughts and feelings into it. And then all of a sudden, he's consuming the life of Ginny. Like, how does that actually happen? And like, how do you, and like, even just on the base of it, let's like talk about, you're writing a journal, and is it just like a magical spell where you can be like, I want to, because his responses are like in the present. It's not like you're asking Google a question, it's searching history. It's like, no, I'm responding to this at this moment. It's almost like Tom Riddle is in the diary in some way.
Right.
Is it like a piece of him or like a spirit?
Maybe.
To keep something alive?
Like he created a little AI of himself or
He
something
probably
weird.
put himself everywhere. Remember when he like disappeared? When he got blasted, when he hit Harry and he disappeared.
He would have made
Could
this
parts
diary
of him
40 years before that, 42 years or whatever it is. So even back then as a student,
Yeah, that's fair.
what was he doing to did he have to write all the information in there?
But
And Harry went into this thing too. So the diary also could contain memories from the past and a memory that can travel to the future or in the present or whatever it is.
But if you're so prideful too, you're probably like keeping tallies on everything of how powerful you became. So maybe as he was a teenager or whatever, he's just like, I'm so good. I'm going to keep this journal and the future will know how powerful it became. I don't know. Maybe. But then going back even further, I was like, how did Ginny... So she got the journal, but what made her open it and write in it? Or like, I don't know. Because like, how did she start a conversation with him? Because if I just got a journal and they couldn't figure out why it was empty... So maybe... Oh, because she started
I was going to say
writing,
she
like,
would just start writing.
diary entries.
And I'm sure she was gushing about Harry Potter.
Yeah,
and then
true.
it was like...
Okay, yeah.
Creamy Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Is this like a knowledge is power kind of thing where just knowing about things, well, no, that doesn't, it's too physical. The memory gains power from
So there's
Jenny?
like, this isn't a spoiler by any means. This is actually not really in the universe at all, but she's kind of talked about this a bit. I don't think we've seen this yet. I don't think this description has come up, but in Dumbledore's office, there are pictures of all the old headmasters.
Yeah, that was in this one. Yeah.
So that was in this one. Perfect. So there's a difference between those paintings and other paintings in the castle. Other paintings in the castle are just of people, and those have you can interact with those and ask questions, but they don't have a depth of understanding of like, they're not like an individual. They're not like a person where like they have, obviously there's still like soul attached to that. With some of the headmasters, it's encouraged. They paint those portraits of the headmasters early on in their headmaster career. And the headmaster is actually encouraged to go sit in front of that portrait for about 15 minutes a day and talk to the portrait, so the portrait gets to know them on a more personal level and can actually become closer aligned with that person and like actually know who they are. So maybe it's the same thing with the diary, where like, because this is a magical object, Tom Riddle is pouring all his heart out into this thing, and the diary just gets to know him to the point where it can respond for him until Tom is ready to take form or something like that. Maybe.
That would make sense.
That's so weird.
But we haven't encountered a magical object like that, though.
Yeah, but we're seeing things like that. I mean, even the car, at first it felt like a lifeless thing that could fly, and now it's a Tarzan in the woods. So I feel like it's like they're creating these things that then go on to have their own identities. So even if this diary is not directly Voldemort anymore, maybe it was just some lifeless entity that then started to have an identity crisis and thinking it actually was, but...
Maybe it was an animal that got turned into a journal. Maybe it was some other thing that got turned into a car.
Wow. Fascinating.
Interesting.
My brain is still working.
I mean, the car was acting like a dog. So.
Yeah, seriously,
Yeah.
A
Could it be
beast.
like the robots come alive? Kind of like what
Right.
you were saying. It's like
Right.
it took a life of its own.
I love that
maybe.
idea.
And it uses this power to catfish an 11-year-old. It just feels so weird. Like, why? I mean, we'll learn more in the next chapter, but...
You guys want to head to the next chapter?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break and we're going to listen to the next chapter, and we will be back in a second on the podcast time. So
Answered a lot.
we know Percy was only kissing Penelope Clearwater, guys. They were only
exactly what I
kissing.
thought it was.
That's why we started off like this. I knew you guys didn't know the end of the book, so we had to get that in there. They were just kissing, guys.
yes.
This
What
is
did
a
you think of
children's
it? What did you think of that chapter?
There was a lot in it. It answered a lot.
What do you think of Tom Riddle's backstory? We got a little bit more. What was the extra information that we got on Tom Riddle's backstory?
Did we get more?
We got more. We just got the
Did things get confirmed?
Malfoys. No, yeah, Malfoys have something to do. They are part of the dark side secretly, giving out journals or
Right?
diaries.
So that's how
someone
Ginny
would get
got
in
it.
trouble. Get caught. They probably maybe they knew the extent of the journal, the diary, or maybe they just wanted him to get. They had to have known.
Yeah, the way Dumbledore said it made it sound like they knew, and it was to Ginny very specifically.
Yeah.
Almost like if they didn't have that opportunity. Oh, no, it wasn't even just like random. They approached the Weasleys in the bookstore, right? So
They're
that
in
was
the
like his
little-
mission. He was
in
like,
the middle of a fight, yeah.
yep. I feel like he went in with that purpose because it was all to avoid the Ministry of Magic inquiries from Mr. Weasley. That's like pretty fiendish. It's
So you
clever.
think he wanted to get rid of it rather than like plant it?
Oh, I think it was kind of both. I think it was more he wanted to get Mr. Weasley out of his job. That's what I was thinking. Maybe I'm reading into it in a weird way, but I thought it was like he chose Ginny
Yeah.
so that Ginny would look very guilty. Mr. Weasley would be out of a job, and then he could keep his secret thing in the kitchen in his house. Isn't that what Draco said? Something about they've got something hidden underneath the
Little,
house.
like trapdoor or something.
So he's clearly got some crazy stuff going on at the house. And they've got long-term plans with whatever they've got, and it's easier to do what they're doing if Mr. Weasley's out of the way. But how is he not in jail? They just couldn't prove it. I guess they've got a innocent till proven guilty kind of thing. It's fine.
Stupid innocent proven till proven guilty. I guess like it's one of those where he is so guilty, but you cannot definitively prove it yet. I guess. So he should be in jail. He should be in Azkaban right now.
And even when Harry came up and was telling the whole story, and then he's like, "Oh, but what if they expel her? Maybe I won't tell the whole thing." I'm like, man, when is he going to learn and just tell everything to Dumbledore and his people? Like, he was about to literally keep that a secret, the whole diary and the Ginny thing. Like, Dumbledore knew clearly. But what if he didn't and Harry just kept this a secret? Then they wouldn't know that Lucius was the one who put it there. They wouldn't have, like, what if Dumbledore truly was in the dark at this point? Then this little moment of, should I tell him, could have actually had consequences. So Harry still has some learning to do as far as trusting Dumbledore and others.
And I thought it was interesting too in this chapter that you kind of learn a little bit of Tom Riddle, that he was probably the best student that Hogwarts has ever had. Like he was brilliant. He knew how to do magic probably more than anybody else could. Even Hermione, we maybe have the second best student that Hogwarts has ever had in Hermione. And Voldemort was even more skilled than her. I think it's an interesting little back point.
Muggle born too.
Well...
No, his mom was a
muggle.
Mom was a witch. Voldemort's. Yeah, Voldemort's mom was a witch. So then the mom must have been very powerful.
Yeah.
If it's just one-sided, I find that interesting.
Yeah, for
sure. Maybe that's something to do with the love thing too. I don't know. Because if Harry was half, no, I don't know. No, because his mom was a witch.
Yeah, mom was a witch.
I don't know. All right, never mind.
Well, I also think that was a nice confirmation here that like Harry actually got some power from Voldemort. Like,
yeah, that's kind of solving like the
like connection. Dumbledore confirmed that like the connection maybe was formed right then. Was there a connection before though? I still don't know. And what was his motivation? Still don't know.
Yeah, so you guys were talking about that, and it definitely confirmed a little bit of that.
Yeah,
I thought that was good. And then there's just great lines in here. Never trust anything that can't think for itself. Yeah. You can't see its brain. Yeah. And then a great Dumbledore line, it is our choices that make us what we are, far more than our abilities.
Yep. We were talking about that too.
Yeah.
This is the whole Chosen One motif.
Smart.
Like, yeah, you guys literally just mentioned that probably like 20 minutes before we stopped to listen to this chapter. It was about how one chose what was good and one chose what was bad. How much do we hate Lucius Malfoy?
A lot.
Oh, yeah. How do they always get away with stuff, these evil people?
I know. What do you guys think of Dobby? They were collective yays when we were listening. When Dobby is free. That was the only part of the chapter. Everyone
was such a conundrum because
wait, I'm still a little confused though.
What?
How he got free? Like, did Harry put the diary in the sock?
So yeah, so that Lucius would take the sock off and throw it. And
but he like
it was like
threw
he
it.
Gave it.
Well, and then Dobby like lunged
so
across the room like a receiver, or was
Probably.
this like did Dobby know what was going on?
He probably just like went like this.
I just don't. It felt a little weird to me.
Yeah, is like image in
they
that
found
book?
a loophole, and I'm like,
I think the opening image in that book is Dobby just has a sock on his head, like it just kind of fell on his head.
Okay, I like that a little better. It just. I thought it was going to be more distinct. Like I could tell where it was going when Harry's rushing down the hallway, but I thought it was going to be like Lucius was thrown off in a moment and just like handed it to Dobby. I thought we were going to see that line distinctly.
That's
so
cute.
Wait, can I see that?
Yeah, I almost wish it was more distinct where like he just gives it out of a moment.
Yeah,
of just
like
forgetting.
if this is what determines his entire future, it just feels odd that it could be an accident, you know, like not an intentional symbol of you are free. Like, yeah.
Harry's a decent manipulator. He should have been able to fluster Lucius Malfoy to the point where he just forgets that he has a sock in his hand and hands it to Dobby. Like do that to a little bit just to make. I don't like the idea that he just kind of like threw it.
That is.
Yeah, I guess so. But I'd rather like Lucius give him the sock than just throw it away.
Yeah. So that
but that's why I think it felt like a little cheapened that Dobby got free by accident because he happened to be there. Like,
well, that was the whole point, though.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
he never would have been freed.
This is like literally slavery, right? And we're saying that the slavery is entirely dismissed if someone accidentally gets a piece of clothing touched. You know, like I thought it had to be more, we can find loopholes or something that gets, you know, but I thought it had to be an actual physical like handoff or something.
Or like a will, like.
Yeah, like with intention.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
like it couldn't be, well, I guess it could be accidental because they had to
It
be
was.
careful about
Well, like
handing
he
socks.
like tossed it, which is like giving it,
That's
and
the
he
giving
caught
part.
it.
But
Well,
he
it's
was saying
just
like
like-
he had to intentionally like give it with in his mind. Like
Right, that's
free.
how I viewed it a little bit.
But
But
they
then
would
again,
never
early
be
they
freed.
did say that like they have to be careful not to accidentally give again with intention, because it's like a high stakes game of keep up. The sock is flying through the air and he's like, if I make contact with that sock before it hits the ground,
right? Yeah.
I'm free forever. But if I drop it, then I don't. You know, like that just feels too haphazard to determine his freedom.
Too much is left up to chance on something like that.
Yeah.
Do you guys Dobby to me in this book went from the most annoying character in the entire book. I didn't like Dobby when I first started reading this more than I didn't like Lockhart.
Right.
I was like,
Yep.
can we get this stinking character out of the books? And
Well, I
by
was
the
gonna
end,
say he's such a conundrum.
yeah, by the end when
Because
he's
of
free,
that.
you're like, this is my favorite character. I love Dobby so much. He's like the best in the end. It's funny how that just switches in your head. But I know a lot of people that just, even after this book, they just don't like Dobby at all. For me, it was definitely like at the end, I was so glad he got freed. You kind of like understand his backstory. You understand where he comes from. Pieces fall together. You're like, oh, he's the Malfoys. Terrible life. So glad he's free. It's like immediately once you like walk a mile in a person's shoes, you're like immediate empathy and sympathy for a person that was once annoying, which is like the same thing we should have for Colin Creevey. He's annoying, but he has an interesting backstory, maybe.
Maybe.
Was Dobby able to do magic?
It looks like it. I felt like he did. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Or
felt like
just, like-
Lucius was scared of him actually.
Yeah.
Like he's like, ooh.
So
Didn't he
elves
just
are
disappear?
legit.
Yeah. Do you
the
think
crack?
elf magic is as powerful as wizard magic, or
I think more.
Really?
I feel like he's a natural. He didn't go to school for this. He's just like, he's crushing it. I mean, the same spell or charm or whatever it was that got Harry in trouble with the cake. What was it at the beginning on the fridge?
Yeah.
And like, and then he just disappears. We haven't seen anyone disappear like this yet.
Yeah.
We know Dumbledore can be invisible, but it feels like he's next level powerful.
Yeah.
At least with certain things.
Yeah, it's interesting too that these ones are the ones that are enslaved to humans or to wizards. That's an interesting one.
But maybe when they're slaves, they can't use their magic to full capacity. Is that what
Oh
it means?
yeah, right. Restricted in certain ways.
yeah.
Yeah, and then that's why Malfoy was like, "Oh no, you're free."
What if he used magic to catch the sock before it hit the ground? Would he still be free?
Oh wow!
What if he was hiding under the bed on a random day and caught a slipper as it fell off the bed? You know, like anything. I just feel like
You
that's
really
too
hate
weird.
that.
Yeah.
I don't
How
like
it
it.
happened.
It wasn't satisfying. Yeah.
I almost
see
like the
that.
idea that his magic is restricted until he's free, and then he can
Yeah.
actually do magic properly. I like that idea a lot. Do you think it's irresponsible for Dumbledore to let Harry have the diary back?
And not go down the hallway with him.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh yeah, run down after this really powerful wizard who clearly works for Voldemort. Have fun with it. Why? It
Because
just
he
felt
probably
weird.
knows it doesn't work anymore.
When he started, didn't it stop working?
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like this
Maybe.
is totally Dumbledore.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wouldn't be that sure about this.
Yeah,
In this
he
world
didn't
of
test
like
it.
4-dimensional chess, like he could pretend he's dead, but he's not. I also don't trust Lockhart at all. Like, I don't think Harry and Ron are qualified to identify whether a memory charm truly worked. Maybe Lockhart is pretending that he doesn't have his memories. But I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, that diary and Lockhart need to go through some serious interrogation before they're cleared for exit into the world.
It just seemed too haphazard to me. Like Dumbledore hasn't studied this yet. He doesn't know anything about it. He doesn't know if the powers are really, really broken. And maybe the powers are broke from the outside, but maybe there's something. It seems like dark magic. Maybe there's something deeper in there that he just doesn't know about yet. And he's just like, Harry's like, can I have the diary? Yeah. Take a sock with you. It's a little crazy.
But again, I do trust Dumbledore. I trust that he he understands what's going on. I feel like he knows the most. His motives are great, and he has a lot of things under control. So I'm just like waiting to see. I want to know more before I judge it too harshly. But at a glance, this did feel absurd.
So how'd you like anything else in this chapter that you liked? How'd you like this chapter?
I think it was satisfying. Like it solved some of the questions you had. How Ginny got the diary, more about Malfoy, more about Tom Riddle.
A lot of answers.
Yeah.
Can't Lucius get punished for threatening 11 governors or all of them or whatever it was?
That was interesting.
Feels like at least there could be proof there, right?
Yeah.
Testifying in court or something.
We need to start building a case against Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah.
I think definitely a classic case of money as well. Malfoy seemed like a very rich family. I'm sure they give a good amount of money to the Ministry of Magic and to Hogwarts. Yeah. It's like, do we really want to lose that amount of money that we get?
How'd they make their money?
Oof, that's a good question. Great question. How do wizards make money like that? We'll look into that in the future. Who's your favorite character in these 4 chapters?
Hermione.
She's petrified for the whole thing.
She had the answers in her hand.
No, bad timing. That was great for her. I feel like she crushed it. But
your favorite was
Harry.
Yeah.
He did all the work. Shout out to the Phoenix too.
He's a little annoying though, because he's not like following any. He just free. I don't know.
Yeah, he's just hoping for the best and going for it.
I'm actually gonna go with Harry this time. I feel like I haven't chosen him yet.
Yeah. Harry, I like your shout out to the Phoenix too. I feel like the Phoenix deserved it.
Made a big difference.
Why didn't you hear you say that?
Give a little shout out to Dobby too, even if I don't like him.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, good little shout out. What did you think was your favorite part of these 5 chapters or these 4 chapters? Remember, it was Aragog, the Chamber of Secrets, the Heir of Slytherin, and then Dobby's reward.
Dobby getting freed. I really liked that.
You guys, I maybe I'll throw that on the podcast if we can hear it, because everyone, as soon as we listen to that part, everyone's like, "Yay!"
Oh, it was recording during that.
I recorded it.
Dobby is free.
I think Dobby's being set free was probably my favorite thing too.
It reminded me so much of Aladdin and the genie.
Yeah.
The last wish.
Yep. Manipulate it. And... Oh no, but that was with the genie.
It's different a little bit, right?
Aladdin chose to do it.
Well, Harry chose to through
someone else. I don't know. One of the times it was manipulation too.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of Aladdin too. I don't remember.
There's Aladdin too.
I liked when Harry stabbed the basilisk.
Oh yeah.
That was a good part.
Tense moment.
Oh, that whole Phoenix scene was great.
Yeah, that whole
too.
scene, it was captivating.
When
Exciting.
Tom Riddle's watching him, he like cry. Oh, look, he's crying.
Yeah.
He's such a good defender for you. And then he was healing him. Oh, it was so good.
So
I
good.
forgot about that.
Yeah, that was
I
great.
love too how there are facts in the wizarding world. Tom Riddle is one of the best students, is the best student they've ever had, and he didn't know that Phoenix tears heal. Like, it was something he said, "Oh, I forgot."
Yeah.
I'm like, first of all, it struck me as weird that he forgot. I'm like, this guy's the most brilliant student. Hermione wouldn't have forgotten that. But I also like the fact that there's probably really deep parts of magic that, like, I'm sure the Phoenix tears healing isn't very often discussed. Maybe Hermione doesn't know that. Maybe there's other parts in the magical realm that are so deep, that are so like intense, that very few people know about them. Like, I feel like the Phoenix is part of that.
But I'm thinking Tom Riddle was of like dark magic, so why would he want to know anything that's
Great
healing?
point.
Well, I feel like he probably knew,
Or
but
good.
when your mind is so focused on self, you kind of tend to forget
And that's
some of the
Yeah.
details.
Yeah.
And some of it is so like weird and fantastic. Even the Chamber of Secrets, people were saying, "Oh, that's not real." It was only like 50 years ago where it was open, and now already people are like, "Oh, that whole thing, it's like, yeah, it's rumors. We're not sure about that." So I feel like a lot of that must happen too, where they're like, "Oh yeah, sure, Phoenix tears. Oh, I've never seen a Phoenix cry, so how would that work?" You know. So maybe he knew or just didn't believe it, or it was part of some story.
Urban myth or like legend. Like, Phoenix tears have healing powers. Yeah, sure. We never ever have seen a Phoenix cry. I'm sure no one has probably seen a Phoenix cry in this entire book. So it's like Harry saw a very rare event that just happened.
And that it was called to Harry because he was loyal.
Oh yeah, it senses
him.
loyalty. That's cool.
Love that. And I love how Dumbledore acknowledges that. You must have showed me a lot of loyalty.
And he got
in
the
that.
sword of Gryffindor, which was so cool because he was questioning if he was belonging there. And then he got the sword. Like, only a Gryffindor would be able to receive that
He got
sword.
his answer.
What else is in this sorting hat? It's like
Yeah,
a Mary
right,
Poppins
right.
bag. You just like reach in.
That's
like,
true, yeah.
Like, can other houses reach in and find other little cool things?
He asked
you know?
for it, though.
He did?
Like with his mind, he said, I need help or something.
Oh, I
And they sent
gotcha.
him a
And
sword.
then,
Like, here's a
I
sword.
love that.
Cool.
yeah.
So Gryffindor has a sword. Do you think the other members of the other founders have objects?
The
do
armor
you think
theme.
all of
Yeah,
them have
maybe.
sword?
Nah, there's got to be a good old shield in there, right? But what else?
I feel like the shield of Hufflepuff would be
Oh,
right.
yeah.
the helmet of Ravenclaw, and then
Ooh, for their minds.
What would
The-
Slytherin be?
the whip of Slytherin.
Something
I don't know.
That's like Snake-esque.
Yeah,
It
right,
could be,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
True.
The boots.
Stomp on things.
Yeah.
Maybe.
How'd you guys like this whole book?
It was good.
It was
Really good.
Yeah.
I feel
couldn't
like it
stop
keeps
reading
getting
it.
better.
I do agree with you though, how you couldn't really figure it out because I wasn't theorizing on who there was. So it's like,
And now, if at the end of the chapter, I don't think this book would have. I think I like the first one because it feels more like a mystery to me, and you read the second one in light of the first one. But the second one is just completely different, where it's not so much you're trying to figure out the story. Well, you are, but it's more like the end brings you rewards for some things that you didn't know previously. That you're like,
Right.
oh, I'm discovering more in this world, and it's not just like a mystery story. It's like there's different depths to it that I can understand.
yeah. And it was kept from you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Did you guys like it better or worse than the other one?
Worse for me.
Worse?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was good. I enjoyed it, but the ending, like you said, just wasn't as satisfying. But the ending brings up really fun things for future books, or frustrating things with Lucius out there. So it's great because it's building this world that I'm really falling in love with. But it wasn't the most satisfying ending. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but
I thought the opposite of you. Because I feel like I like answers to all these questions, and I feel like I got all my answers to everything I was questioning in this book.
yeah. Are we left with any questions now? We did get a lot of answers,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah.
We got a lot of answers in this
I
one.
feel like all the small
Cool.
details that you wanted, you got.
Yeah.
It's just big
Which is
things.
what
Yes,
I
yeah,
like.
you're right. Like,
Yeah.
still a few more things with the
Yeah, that's
Voldemort Harry
true.
connection and the love thing. And did Voldemort, the real Voldemort, learn anything from what memory Voldemort got from Harry? Like, is that connection alive, or did all of the things Harry mentioned, did they just kind of fade away when the memory got stabbed? So there are a few questions, but nothing too crazy. But 400 points for Gryffindor? Come on.
absolutely
If
absurd.
I was
Oh my gosh.
They finally realized they
I'd
had
be
to make
so
up for the
annoyed.
trolls. So they were like, you know what? Let's just combine it all.
If I was Slytherin, I'd be a little annoyed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. They had it in the bag 2 years, and then the last second points come in, and well, Slytherin, you lost by probably 300 points this year. But we'll find out some secrets next time. Maybe we'll find out some answers to the questions that we have. Maybe as we go on throughout the rest of the books, we'll see. But I can't wait to keep doing this. This is so much fun to me. So we are on to Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Thanks again for listening to this podcast. This journey has been so much fun for all of us. We are on book 3 right now, and the story just keeps getting better and better. That's what I keep telling Jenn, Kristen, and Danny. So we're very excited to keep doing this journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Again, give us a good rating and review. That would mean the world to us. So thanks again for listening.